What's up, people? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Desmond Z. If this is the first time that you've ever seen me, I want to talk about 5-star reads. Why is my fist balled up? I don't know. Just kidding. Stay ready. I want to talk about 5-star reads today. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Let's just get into it. We need to recognize that there are differences in 5-star reads. Sometimes I read a book and I had a good time. I enjoyed my time, my stay, my tenure with that book. And you know what? At the end of it, I'm like, you know what? Cool. 5 stars. You deserve. You did what you needed to do. You showed me a good time. 5 stars. And then sometimes there are 5 stars where it's like, you may have just changed my life. You may have just shifted the way I see the world, the way I see myself, and the way I see others. You may have just altered something within me. So obviously, I'm giving you 5 stars. You know, there's levels. Sing Her Name. I read this book last year, and I enjoyed this book. This is a book about a girl. What's his main character's name? Now, I know I said love these 5-star reads, love them down. They did what they needed to do, but that don't mean I remember every single thing. And names are definitely, if I don't remember your name in real life, what make you think I'm gonna remember your name in a book? Like, let's be honest. Eden is the main character in this book. And basically all her life, she's taking care of her little brother. I think she's like, yeah, she was 17 when her younger brother was born. So she has that older sister syndrome, that oldest child syndrome, where she's basically like a second parent. Eden leaves New Orleans. She's living in New York. She's working as a waitress, and she wants to be, is it an actress or a writer? She wants to do something, but she's working as a waitress to make ends meet. Her younger brother gets in trouble, and we go back and forth between that timeline with Eden and her brother, and then in the past, in like the 1920s, I believe, there's this opera singer who, that's what she wanted to be. She wanted to be a singer. Yes, Eden did. But we go back to like the early 1900s where there's this black lady, she's an opera singer, and she never got her dues. She never got her flowers. She wasn't recognized for the star and the talent that she was because she's a black woman in the early 1900s. And we go back and forth and we see the parallels between the opera singer and Eden. And it was just such an amazing story. And this is one where I actually really enjoyed both timelines because like I always say, dual timelines, they're hit or miss for me. But I honestly believe this was one where I actually really enjoyed it. I mean, do we even need to? Do we even need to? We don't even have to talk about it, do we? We don't even need to discuss it. It does not have to be discussed. It does not need to be explained because what's understood don't need to be what. Thank you very much. I just want S.A. Cosby to know that he definitely changed my life with this book. I haven't shut up about it. It's been, 2-3 years now, and I haven't shut up about it. I will never shut up about it. I just want S.A. Cosby to also know that when and if this gets turned into a movie, a miniseries, just give me a part. Just give me a part. I can play I can play the son. Which one was the main? Was Randolph? Yeah, it was Ike. I can play Ike's son in the flashbacks, or I can be an extra. You know, I can just, walk on set and serve some coffee to somebody. I just need to be a part of it. I need to put that out there into the world, and I need the rest of y'all to put that out there. I just need to be a part of it. That's all I gotta say. We don't even have to talk about it. And if you're new here, you could probably watch any one of my videos, and I'll probably mention this in it because I haven't shut up about it. So we don't even need to discuss it. It don't even need to be talked about. I recently mentioned the measure in a video, probably like 2 or 3 videos ago. I'll put a link up here just in case. Yeah, this was in my go-to recommendations video that I recently did. I really enjoyed the measure, and I said how I cannot wait till this gets adapted. I believe it has been optioned. This will make for a great mini-series. It's like, I'll put the link up here I reviewed this. It was such an amazing book, such a good book. Crimes of Passion. This is a novella about 2 podcasters who talk about true crime. One takes a more laid back approach, it might tell a few jokes, a little hee ha ha here and there or whatever. More conversational, talking to a friend type of thing. And then the other one is more stiff upper lip, suit and tie. This is very much the news at 9, baby. That's how he doing it. And what happens when these two two people have to come and work together, obviously they butt heads or whatever, but there may also be a little sexual tension. There might be a little romance flickering in the flames, okay? And I enjoyed this from top to bottom. Pun not intended. This was really enjoyable on audio. There is a full production. I said this before. You hear doors opening and closing, phones are ringing, people talking in their car on speakerphone, and it sounds like someone is actually on speakerphone. It has that effect to it. It was just, I really wish this was a full novel. I really, really, really do. Jack Harpin. I said it before. I'll say it again. We need a full novel. Make it a full novel. Anxious People. This is another one. This is another one where I have not shut up about it. This is another one where it's like, do we even need to discuss it? It's been mentioned so many times at this point on my channel that there really is no point. There really is no need to talk about how much I enjoyed this book. This was my introduction to Frederick Bachman, and I think that even though I have read the rest of his books, this one holds such a special place in my heart, in my soul, because it was my introduction to him, and it was, what a great introduction it was. It's 5 stars. It'll always be. I know recently, I talked about this because I reread it recently, and y'all know I'm on my whole little rereading kick, and I said I did not enjoy it as much as my first go around, but that's only because I really was in a slump at that time, and I was trying to bring myself out of it. So I said that I feel like that was part of the reason why I didn't enjoy it as much. But it's still, from my first reading, it's 5 stars. It'll always be. It'll always be. Now, there's a TV adaptation for this on Netflix. I did not enjoy that as much as I enjoyed the book, because a lot of things had to be cut out. It just didn't have the same charm. But that's neither here nor there. This will always be. It'll always be. You'll always be a part of me. I'm part of you indefinitely. Oh, don't you know you can't escape me? Let's talk about another Frederick Bachman book while we're at it. Beartown. I don't mention this one as much as I mention Anxious People. Like I said, because I always mention Anxious People because it was my introduction to Frederick Bachman. Beartown was such a heartbreaking story. This was one of those ones where it was like, oh, you definitely surprised me. I did not expect you to do what you did. Like, you really shook some shit up. You did. Beartown is about this girl. Our main character, we have several of them, but it's at the center of this story. Her name was Kayla, right? No, it's Kira. Yeah. No. Kira was the wife. What was the girl's name? What was that girl's name, y'all? Oh my God, I cannot remember. Oh, I cannot remember. Oh, I cannot remember. I cannot remember for the life of me the girl's name in this book. It's Anna or Maya. It's one of those. I can't remember which one. I'll figure it out. But there's a young girl. She's like 15 or 16 years old. And what happens when she goes to a party and something happens with her where Kevin, I believe is his name, he's a star athlete. What happens when he gets accused of doing something and the whole town is like, oh, there's no way he would do that. He's a good boy. He's a star athlete. And even those who feel like, oh, she may be right, they still don't believe her because, once again, he's a star athlete in this small town and they don't want to do anything that might tarnish their precious hockey star. So now, so many people's lives are going to be changed because of this incident. It's actually how they like to refer to it, as the incident. Whenever something like this happens, it's always referred to as the incident, kind of downplaying it when it's so much bigger than that. And so many lives will be changed because of this, what happens. Glory be. This book is about Glory. Glory. This book is about Glory, an elderly woman who takes it upon herself to figure out what actually happened to her best friend, because the best friend dies, but she don't believe she died the way people are saying she did. She's like, no, some ain't right. Some of the milk ain't clean. It's some shady shit going on around here. So she's like, I'm gonna figure out what happened myself. And she's also like a small time like bookkeeper, gambler, or something like that. She running her own little business, basically out the coffee shop. She be sitting at the same little table at the back of the coffee shop, running these gambling boards. But she's also a church-going, God-fearing grandmother, like elderly type of woman. So it's a whole. She's a mess. She's a show, and we enjoyed it from beginning to end. So needless to say, Glory is layered. She's contradictory, as we all tend to be at times, and I enjoyed my time with Miss Glory B. You can tell this is somewhere on this is a real person somewhere. I see this person in my family. I see this person with like the elderly woman that you work next to at work, and she's got 3 grandkids. She's got 3 grandkids and one on the way. And y'all's life experiences are wildly different, but you love to go to work and you love to hear her stories. That's who Glory is. That's who Glory is, and I love it. I love it. 2 more where we don't even need to talk about them. They've been discussed. They've been discussed. We've talked about them. I reread this one earlier this year, and I talked about it back in January, and I fell in love with it even more. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. Black Cake. At this point, there's nothing to say. What more? What more do you need me to say? If you're new here, just know I've talked about these a million times. And if you haven't watched the TV adaptation for this after you read the book, TV series did it justice. Even though I didn't really care for the ending, it was kind of, but I understand you gotta switch things up a little bit. But Last Couple Standing. This is about a man and a woman. What are their names? Jessica and Mitch. They are married, and 3 of their other couple friends, because there's 4 couples in this little friend group, the other 3 couples have split, and Jessica and Mitch are the last ones, and they don't want to suffer the same fate that the other couples did. So they decide, we're in a rut, things just really seem to be stagnant for us. What are we going to do? They decide to open up their marriage, and obviously it's gonna be messy. It's gonna be messy, okay? So I did not anticipate. I actually read quite a few books about open marriages back to back, and it wasn't intended, but it just seemed to happen. This one was definitely the standout, and I really, really enjoyed this book. It was funny. It felt authentic. It felt like what would actually happen when 2 people who just don't know what's in store for them when they decide to open up their marriage. Like, did you expect this? Did you not think? Did you not think about the repercussions this could have? So I would highly recommend this, and I would highly recommend reading and listening to it at the same time, or just listening to the audiobook, because the narrator does a great job. Her comedic timing was great, her delivery, all of that. I enjoyed it. And yeah, this is another one that surprised me. A lot of my 5-star reads surprised me. So I guess that's just a common theme. Like, that's really how you solidify your 5-starness with me. You got to surprise me. Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. Now, I don't actually remember if I gave this 5 stars when I first read it. I will say there are quite a few books that now I will say, oh, these were 5 stars. And I'm not sure if I gave them 5 stars when I first read them, but over time, I have developed an even stronger fondness for them when I talk about them, when I recommend them. When people ask me, oh, what did you think about this book? Have you read this book? And I'm like, oh yeah, I love that book, 5 stars, Now, when I read it, it probably wasn't 5 stars, but looking back, but I feel like that's okay, because that just means I grew to appreciate it even more. Like, get like a fine wine. It got better with age. In this book, we have Mary. She's our main character. She is in baby jail. Basically, she's a group home because she was accused of murdering this little baby that her mom was babysitting at the time, okay? So now we deal with Mary in this group home, we've got bullies, people calling her a baby killer, and she's also got this boy named Ted, who she started liking and dating or whatever. She ends up getting pregnant. And she's like, we're going to start a life together when I get out of this group home, blase, blase. Her mom comes to visit her, and her mom is very religious, goes to church, and like, girl, you need to pray, you need to repent for your sins. And throughout this novel, we have to figure out, did Mary actually do what she was accused of doing? Da 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 da. And I will have to say, as this was Tiffany D. Jackson's debut novel, and this is how you do a debut, because I was back and forth. I was back and I was forth. I didn't know how it was all gonna play out, and I just have to say, kudos to Tiffany D. Jackson, because yeah. I need to go back and rewatch my review of this, my initial review, because I definitely felt conflicted. I do remember that. But over time, yeah, my fondness has grown for Allegedly. I wish you all the best. I recently mentioned this in one of my go-to recommendation videos. In my recent go-to recommendation video, I put can I link the same video twice in different parts? No, I don't think I can actually. But my go-to recommendation is a recent video. I talked about that in this video, that book in there. Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. I've talked about this book a million times before as well. Heartbreaking, just gut-wrenching, based on true events, because it's based on the Dozier School for Boys that was in Florida that ran for like 100+ years, and it's just pure traumatic, like traumatic at times. Before this book, I had never heard about the Dozier School for Boys, and then I also read about it in The Reformatory by Tanana Reeve Dew. So yeah, the Nickel Boys. An Ordinary Wonder. This book is about Otto, who has to live life as a boy, even though they strongly believe that they are a girl. An intersex child who is sent away to boarding school, grows up in this such an abusive, toxic environment, has to go to boarding school and falls in love with their roommate, and they just want to escape. They want to escape the hell that they are in. They have a twin sister whose support it's spotty. It's here and there. It's like the sister loves Otto, but at the same time, growing up, she's like a teenage girl now, so she doesn't really know how to approach and how to love and accept Otto, so they struggle with that. This was another one that was really just gut-wrenching, and just it breaks your heart. Now, I will say this was one where I got to a point in the book and I was like, okay, we need to end it, or this isn't necessary. I feel like it would have been even stronger. So I don't think I gave this book 5 stars when I finished it, but at this point in time, it is now a 5-star read. Looking back, an amazing story. It just, yeah. The Neighbor Favorite. This book is about Lily Green, who is like a bookish girl. She dreams of becoming a children's book editor. And at some point, she starts emailing this author who wrote one of her favorite books, right? And, they're corresponding back and forth. She's like, thank you so much for writing this book. Oh my gosh, it means so much to me. Da, 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 da. And the emails abruptly stopped at one point. And then this guy named Nick, right? Is that his name? Yeah, Nick moves in next door to her. And they start flirting or whatever. And it's it's a little flirtation going on. And then, they actually develop a little friendship or whatever. And soon Nick realizes, oh, this is the girl I was emailing a while back. But he doesn't tell her, oh, I'm actually the author of that book, because he has a pseudonym or whatever. And obviously things are complicated, but it was cute. I loved it. I enjoyed it. Was a little bit far-fetched at times. And obviously, yes, I feel that way about most romance novels when they have the whole miscommunication trope or whatever, when it's like, oh, I'm hiding this from you. But it's just like, we could just fucking talk. If we could just talk instead of ignoring the big ass elephant in the room, if we could just speak, then all of this would be null and void. But then you wouldn't have a story, right? Violin Conspiracy. Wrong place, wrong time. The Rachel incident. Now, for Wrong place, wrong time. I believe I gave this 4 stars when I first read it. I honestly did, because I felt like at the time the main character is sitting in her like front living room window or whatever, carving a pumpkin, waiting for her son to come home. It's like the day before Halloween, right? And she sees him walking up, but then there's another guy behind him, and her son stabs him, and her son goes to jail. And she's like, "Oh my God, I gotta get my baby out of jail. I don't know what the hell going on. Why he stabbed his man? Who is he? Whatever, right?" She wakes up the next day because they basically tell her like, "Look, girl, we can't do nothing for you tonight. Your son will be spending the night in jail. You might as well go home and get some rest." So she goes home. She tries to get some sleep. Wakes up the next day, and it's the day before. And every time she goes to sleep, she wakes up another day in the past, and she realizes that she is being given the opportunity to figure out what the hell led her son to this point of killing this man. So now she can try to change this or whatever. We got to a point in the book where I was like, okay, we've gone back too many days. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up, because now I'm sick of the time loop. I'm sick of what's happening here now, okay? Like, we could cut some of this out. I do remember that, but I still really enjoyed this book, and over time, my fondness for the book has grown. So maybe this is like a tentative 5-star read. Maybe, this is like, it's teetering between 4 and 5 stars, but when I look back, I don't remember, or I don't think about, being exhausted with the whole time loop thing. I think about more so my enjoyment of it, the good parts of it. So that's why I feel like it leans more 5 stars. Violin Conspiracy was another one. My eye is like, I have sunscreen in my eye, and now it is burning. Oh my God. Yeah, we gotta wrap this up because my eye is fucking burning. Oh, Violin Conspiracy. I don't even talk about that. I don't need to talk about that. Do I need to talk about it? That's one that I mentioned a lot, and I feel like y'all need to read it. I feel like y'all need to read The Violin Conspiracy immediately. No one knows who the fuck you are. That is one of my favorite quotes from this book, and I say it quite often. A lot of times in my head, just randomly, someone will be talking to me, and I'll be like, no one knows who the fuck you are. And I'll be like, oh, you actually need to pay attention to this conversation, Desmond. Honor. This is about Smita. She is an Indian-American journalist who has returned to India to cover a story, but reluctantly. Because years ago, she left, and she was like, there's no point in me going back. I don't need to be there. And she's covering this story of Meena, who was attacked, as a Hindu woman who was attacked by members of her own village. And in this story, and in this book, we learn about Meena and what's happening with her and women, their rights, all of those things. And we also learn about Smita and her past with her family and why she actually left India and why they vowed to never return. And I found this book, it was, how do you describe it? How do you describe a book that goes places that you did not imagine it going? Other than unexpected, other than surprising. What else is there to say? I will say though that I feel like there are aspects of this story that I don't fully remember. So this may be one that I need to put on my reread list. I definitely feel like this is one, I definitely think that's one I need to put on my reread list. Take My Hand. This book is based on true events, and our main character is Sybil Townsend, and we're in Montgomery, Alabama in 1973. Sybil is a nurse. She's a young nurse. I think she's like 23. It's her first week on the job, and she thought she was going to be helping people, changing lives, and doing good for her community. And she comes to find out that they are giving like birth control and to young girls who should not be on birth control. There are things going on where we are preventing these young girls a chance at a huge part of life, basically, okay? And throughout this novel, we go back from 1973 to 2016 because Sybil is going back to this town where she first became a nurse and all of these things were happening. And she's coming to terms with what she took a part in. And how it still has affected her to this very day. We also talk about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment that went on, where a bunch of black men were purposely infected with syphilis, and it went untreated just to see how it would turn out. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing there, but it was an atrocious event in history, and we touch on that and so many other things. And another heartbreak. A lot of these. Some of these, I feel like, we have funny, humorous stories and relatable, and then we have heartbreaking and gut wrenching stories. You gotta have balance. You gotta have balance. Okay, and this is definitely on the heartbreaking, gut wrenching end when you look at this and you see these are based on true events, and these characters, these people could be very real. Like, even these are fictitious characters, obviously, but it's just to know that things like this happen to very real people. Yeah. And that is it. There are quite a few more 5-star reads that I could talk about, but you know what? I feel like that's enough for today. That's enough for today. Maybe I'll do a part 2 soon. But those are some of my 5-star reads, those are some of my 5-star books that I have read over time. And yeah, it just, I really love when a book comes through and just really just knocks me on my ass. It's like, you didn't expect that, did you? You didn't expect that, did you? Let me know down below in the comments some of your favorite books that you've read ever read, some of your favorite 5 stars. And it don't have to be, like I said, it don't have to be just, oh my God, you changed my life. It could be a book that during that time, it was just like, oh, you really took me out of my element. I was mad when I opened this book, and you just lifted me up. And I forgot about everything that was going on. I had a good time here. I had a good time. Did we talk about some real shit? Probably not. But you made me laugh. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I will see you in my next one. Thank you for watching.